I don't drink soda.
Are we ready? Are we prepared?
We're ready to rock and roll.
All right. Do you want to do the honors? Give us a countdown?
5, 4, 3.
Yo, welcome to the Natural Habitat Podcast. My name is Mikey Booyah.
My name is Awesome Ty, and say hello to our co-host, Computer.
Computer, say hello to the people.
I was telling the people to say hello to Computer.
Oh, sorry. Just keep it down.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today and for tuning in and spending some time with us. We have a lot of things to go over today. It's been a big week.
An eventful week, sure.
Yeah, March has always been big in the podcast since a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, that is true.
So we're wrapping up March. We got St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. My mom's birthday is today.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So happy birthday.
Happy birthday to my mom, even though she's going to see this, at a later time.
Everyone will, because St. Patrick's Day is tomorrow in real life time. Podcast time, St. Patrick's Day has just passed.
Didn't we have like a President's Day or something like that in March?
That feels right.
Computer, what are the March holidays?
There are no national holidays in the United States in the month of March.
Okay, cool. Well, apparently, he lies now. That's, I have been doing, forcing no updates on Computer.
Oh.
Just cause he's been like in the doghouse kind of. But recently Computer is the only artificially intelligent podcast co-host.
Yeah. I mean, relatively intelligent, I wouldn't say. I mean, he's not Stephen Hawking's here.
Yeah. Artificially relatively intelligent. And I finally gave him the updates that I have been holding back from him.
Did you?
I gave him 40 updates at once. He got a bunch of new things. And one of those updates was he can lie now.
Oh, okay.
So we never know if he's telling us the truth, if he's trying to do a ruse.
I mean, it's something to consider now. I mean, I've always taken everything that he says very lightly because, I mean, I've never trusted Computer from day one.
No.
You know that I've had my issues with Computer. It's been well documented on this show. But, knowing now that he is aware that he's lying and is doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
I mean, that adds another.
Hey, whoa.
Hey, what is going on here?
We haven't done gun stuff a lot.
No, yeah. I mean,
we actually just passed the 5-minute mark, so that was good time. Oh, wait, but we're going to cut a little bit of that beginning out. So here, put that back down for like another 60 seconds. So before we get into our topic today, which is the United States of America giving nuclear weapons to Australia.
We've made Australia a superpower.
Yeah. Before we get into that, we want to touch on some other topics. One is an exciting development with the NHP universe.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one for sure.
So, locally, we have a brewery that makes a beer called 805, and this has recently become a world-famous, world-renowned beer.
Yeah, it's spread all across the nation, possibly into Canada and Australia. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They'd have to chime in and let us know.
Yeah, actually,
if you have
Free
805.
Candy, let us know if you've heard of 805.
But it's become very popular and has exploded.
And it was just in an Alchemist video that came out a few days ago. Just right front and center, labeled to the camera, 805. And it's creating a hotspot for beverages of all kinds.
Sure, and we're already considered to be one of the finer wine countries, wine regions in California. But it seems like more and more breweries and that sort of thing are popping up. So, we're getting a wider variety of the types of drinks that our area is producing.
Now, it's not just about wine. It's about beverages.
Beverages, exactly.
And right now it's about alcoholic beverages, but that is going to end soon too because you're excluding such a wide range of people. Not only people under 21, but people that don't drink.
Or people that, say you're in the middle of your workday. You're not allowed to pop up on an 805 ale in the middle of your office. No, you can't. I mean, that would
depending on
be
where you
frowned
work,
upon in most work settings. So there's a lot of people that need their drink fix in a non-alcoholic
You want
way.
a novelty drink that has turned popular, recently popular, so you feel like you're on the cutting edge. You're wearing Crocs, you're like, I'm hip. I know what's going on.
Yeah, you put the bottle down with the label facing out so everyone can see it. Make sure that everyone sees the label.
See that? I'm going to blur that. So just so you know. So we decided that we're going to get in on that game.
We're going to hop on that bandwagon.
There's a local musician.
Yeah, musician, I guess.
Yeah, local musician that is releasing or has released or is planning to release a cider, a hard cider that is themed around his brand. And I think that is the wrong move for multiple reasons. All right. One, he didn't make his own cider, allegedly.
Nope.
I heard, someone told me, which is, what's the word? Hearsay? What would they say, like in court? Objection.
Hearsay.
He said, she said.
Hearsay, I think.
So that's a he said, she said. I just heard that. And he didn't make the cider. All right. It's just like a house cider. And he also didn't make the design. Someone else made the design. And then he also didn't get any of the cans printed. It was just when you build something on a website, it'll show you like a preview of what it will look like.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Okay.
And he screenshotted that and he posted it and he said, new cider, here it is. I'm really excited. But it never actually happened. And another reason why it's a bad move is he's like focusing on this alcohol market. And we got to get out of that. We got to do beverages.
At any given time, prohibition could rear its ugly head out from obscurity again, and we won't be able to sell alcohol.
If we learned anything from the pandemic, 100 years ago, there was a pandemic. 100 years ago, coming up, there was a prohibition. When was prohibition? The 40s?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Computer, when was prohibition?
Prohibition was in effect nationwide from 1920 to 1933.
Yeah. Okay. So there's no telling.
That's now.
You've got all these Texas judges making rulings on abortion and what have you. When are they going to turn their attention to alcohol? We just don't know. So we have to be prepared for that.
Mm-hmm. And we are going to be creating flavor profiles. We're going to be mixing terpenes and aromatics.
Yeah, we've already got some formulas, but we're going to be concocting. We're going to be, formulating these formulas to make new formulas, reformate. I mean, there's going to be formulas.
It's going to be reformulations a lot because we already have our patented formula, which
many formulas.
We're going to branch off
formations
of that.
Formulas.
Yeah, formations of formulas. And we're going to branch off. We're going to make a bunch of different beverages. We're going to make things that you could drink at daytime, nighttime, work time, playtime. You could drink them here. You could drink them there.
You could drink them anywhere.
Anywhere. You could drink them on your head. You could drink them in your bed.
You can drink them in your car. You can drink them at a bar.
Yeah, very true. You could drink them at the sea. And you could drink them
with tea. You can mix them with tea.
We might.
One of these might be a tea. So
thanks, dude. That was a hard. I don't know why I picked such a difficult word to rhyme with. That's like one of those, like orange, like you can't rhyme with it. C, can't rhyme with it.
It's a tough one.
It's tough. So we are going to be formulating energy drinks, soda pops. That's going to be
mostly just those two, but I mean,
I think our main thing is going to be soda pops. Then we'll also have energy shots, energy drinks. We looked into this and it's doable. We could actually do this. And there is a catch.
There's always a catch.
we have to order like cases of this shit.
Yeah, there is a minimum order.
14 cases of 24 sodas.
That's a lot. It's probably going to run a few bucks at least. And times are tough for us right now. And we really haven't asked much from you guys other than you subscribe and sound off below. So, we're asking you again to contribute financially and donate some money to helping us launch this beverage brand.
Yeah. Because we just bought a new mixer. So that is, all of our money goes into the show, into the production. We moved to the big city. We bought this sign. We need to buy batteries for that.
Yeah.
So that's what, if we didn't have to buy batteries for that, and if we didn't just buy a mixer, then yeah, we would just pay for the soda.
You see all the light up stuff, and you got a megaphone here. We're constantly funneling our profits into batteries.
Yeah.
And, you can't just recharge these batteries. So we're going to have to keep buying them. So we're going to need a little bit more.
So we're going to be asking for donations on our website, naturalhabitatpodcast.com. You could scroll all the way down. You could donate on there. And we are going to be crowdfunding the money to launch our soda brand. And then we're going to just treat it like selling weed. Once you get the sodas, you flip the sodas, you have enough to buy 28 cases.
Yeah. 2 make a 4 Mac.
Yeah. Yeah. You got it.
4 makes, or 8 makes 9.
So
4 makes 9.
So we're excited about that. That's going to be lit. Just help us out.
Please.
We very rarely ask for help, like once an episode, maybe twice. But we're asking now, donate to our soda brand, which, may or may not even be real. So just blindly give us money.
Yeah, sometimes you have to take a risk. And you have to follow your heart.
Obviously, yes, it's real.
We've never grifted you before.
We already have the formula, and we already have these people working on it. Sven is out there. Sven and Steven. And, those two guys are such go-getters that we really don't need much of a bigger team than Sven and Steven. They have lab coats, and they're legit, and they're like dripping flavor profiles, and we have this thing working already. We just haven't paid them, so we would love to pay them.
There's a lot of moving parts, and right now it's just coming down to monetary issues. So,
so donate to that. That's going to be exciting for everyone. And if you donate now, then you will get early access to purchase your own soda at full.
You're getting in on the ground floor
at full price. You have to buy the soda.
We can't have you receiving any sort of discount. They're going to be relatively expensive versus the standard market price.
Novelty soda pops are...
they're going to be, it's going to be an expensive exotic soda. But you know what? That's like a thing. Exotic sodas.
Yeah. Have you been to that soda pop store?
Yeah, I have.
Where it's just all kinds of sodas from around the world?
Like a $12 bottle of Faygo.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We're thinking, you charge $12 for Faygo. We're thinking $13 for a bottle of this. So be prepared to shell out a good amount of money.
Plus, if you don't live near the bottling plant, then
freight costs are gonna catch up with you.
And they're gonna crazy. Make it. That shit's really expensive. Like I remember back in the day trying to buy Faygo online. I found out that because Faygo, for people that don't know, is not available on our side of the country. It is now, but at the time you could only get it on the East Coast. And we found out that we could order it online back in the early days of ordering things online. And the shit was like dirt cheap. It still is. But it was like, 30 cents for a 2-liter. And then that was the catch. You had to buy a case. You couldn't just buy like 2 bottles.
Yeah, of course.
And then you had to pay the freight charges for that heavy ass case of 2 liters. And so, the soda was $18 for a case, but the shipping was $85.
Astronomical shipping prices.
Yeah, it was wild.
So
we're going to do that. We're going to take a note from their book or whatever.
Something like that.
And charge all these extra fees. So when you buy your soda, there are going to be extra fees. We're going to have them all invoiced and put down.
We'll have them all laid out for you. I mean, we haven't, come up with all the fees yet. There's going to be a few that pop into our heads that we're going to, add at a later time. So just be prepared, be
but
respectful.
The quality of this.
So this is going to be amazing.
And the energy drinks.
Oh,
you're going to be so awake.
So much energy. I've been drinking this Red Bull, and honestly, I don't feel that energetic whatsoever. But you have one sip of our formula. I mean, it's gonna have you wondering if we put some sort of illegal substance in it, because it's gonna give you to put some pep in your step. Like remember that episode of Saved by the Bell where Jesse takes all the whatever kind of pills they were, like speed pills.
Yeah, it was like Adderall or whatever.
I mean, I don't think they ever like specified what amphetamine it was, but we're gonna look into all the legal, of course, amphetamines.
He did the Requiem for a Dream mom. How he was just like high as fuck on pills. Is that what happened?
So what we're saying is we may or may not be feeding you amphetamines. That's going to be also determined at a later date once we look into the legalities and all that. Call 1-800-LAWYER. Make sure that we run it by them. Make sure we're not doing anything that's going to get us sued. And once we know that we're in the clear, then we're gonna get you these drinks.
So look out for those and donate at naturalhabitatpodcast.com. But we do have breaking news. The U.S. gave nuclear weapons to Australia. What do you mean by nuclear weapons? What did they give them?
They gave them a submarine, like the ones that all of the superpowers have. So there's these submarines. When we're going to nuke somebody, we're going to do it via submarine. We're not just going to drop bombs, like this is the 1950s.
We're going to go down there with the symphonivores.
Yeah, undetectable submarine. And we're going to nuke them that way. And being, given Australia's close proximity to some of our enemies, apparently we thought it best to go ahead and strap Australia up, being that they're our ally, and make them a superpower. We leveled them up, so to speak. And we haven't done that since we gave nukes to England in like the early days of atomic weaponry. So it's not something, we haven't done this willy-nilly. We're not out here giving all the countries nukes.
Yeah, what a weird thing
we haven't given Canada nukes. I don't know about any of the European countries. I think they have their own, but it's definitely, it's not your run-to-the-mill thing for the United States government to do. And I'm sure that it has its purpose, but, it's got us wondering, or at least wanting to know a little bit more about that Australia is the superpower that could potentially destroy the world. Like, I'd feel more comfortable if I knew a little bit more about who we're dealing with as far as Australia goes. We've spent, a ridiculous amount of time looking into Canadian culture, but today we're gonna take it down under. We're gonna go the opposite direction. We're gonna go below the equator and see what's going on down there in Australia, who is now a nuclear superpower.
Yeah, that's wild, because Australia is kind of a thing that's just like forgotten.
Yeah,
like
it's kind of like a joke, like, hey, mate.
I don't remember who said it, but it was one of those jokes that I heard when I was like 9 years old, when I was first watching stand-up comedy. So it was an old comedian, and he said, Australia is like your grandma's pussy. Everybody knows it's down there, but nobody cares.
Yeah, that's good. That's
great comparison to Australia.
Yeah, and Australia actually started out, sure, they had their indigenous tribes who had been there, since the beginning of humanity. But as far as a country, it started out as a British prison colony. England would just send down their prisoners to this place that they had found below the equator. And I think that's how it all came about.
Yeah.
Eventually, I suspect there were so many of them down there, these prisoners, that they just kind of, like this giant English prison became its own society and country.
Yeah. And it saved them because they're constantly funneling in new prisoners. So
right.
It saved them from
they started reproducing, and obviously, like, when they're having babies, you can't keep the babies captive and say that the babies are now prisoners. So eventually, multiple generations came about, and we now have the Australia that we all know, and I wouldn't say love, but we know about it.
Could you imagine if today in modern day prison, like a guy and a guy and a girl. We're talking like, say it's a co-ed prison, right? Yeah. Or there's like a trans man that's staying in the woman's place or something, right? Yeah. And they have sex. A woman gets pregnant, and the baby comes out, and then they put little handcuffs on it, and then they put it in like a holding cell, take its fingerprints, and it now, because it was born in prison by prisoners, it is also property of the state.
Yeah, next generation.
Yeah, you're like a ward of the state, and you're immediately a prisoner, and then they give it a little tiny jumpsuit.
I do think that in some prisons, like women's prisons, like pregnant inmates are allowed to keep their babies in the prison with them for at least some period of time. Oh, so damn. I think that's, kind of the closest you're going to get to it. But yeah, that would be quite the thing.
Do you think... No,
I don't think that. I don't think that at all.
So, Australia is really unknown. Yeah. And I was asking ChatGPT 3, not 4.
No, we don't have access to 4 yet.
Yeah, we don't have 4 yet. Well, actually, we do. We have one question.
Get one question.
We do. Oh my. Okay. Well, let's talk about that first, real quick. Breaking news. Hold off. Breaking news. ChatGPT 4 has been released. Now, ChatGPT 4 is allegedly like 1,000,000 times smarter
than regular ChatGPT that we've been using.
Yeah. You saw there's a little infographic where it's like a little dot is ChatGPT, and then a big ass fucking blood owl is 4, and that's all the information that it has. So. Yeah, and this thing got launched like limited release. You have to sign up for GPT Pro, which I signed up for, and the facial recognition didn't work for whatever reason. So I have to get it like manually reviewed.
Oh, they do
which is like a process, and I'm waiting on an email. So eventually I'll get in, but for now we don't have it. But we found limited access to it. We can ask it one question each. So we have to think of, we fucking should have thought of this before.
It would have been helpful if we would have thought this out. Yeah.
Well, at least we have 2 tries. So we could each give it a shot and learn from our first one, hopefully. And it has to be like a long prompt, too. So here, I could type it in here, and then I could copy and paste it.
Okay.
So what do you think we should do?
We should start out with the prompt with, in the comedic style of Rodney Dangerfield. I want you to, what information are we trying to gather here about Australia?
You too. I don't know. I mean, I think that we're trying to like learn some things, for one, about Australia, because I feel like I know a lot of like just cultural like racist versions of Australia, where it's always like, put some shrimp on the barbie.
A dingo ate me baby.
Dingo ate me baby. You got Crocodile Dundee, who's a liar.
He's just a caricature of Australian culture. Yeah. I don't think they really walk around with alligator hats and giant machetes, but maybe they do. We just don't know at this point.
That's not a knife. This is a knife. Like, these are the stereotypes of Australia. I don't really know much about Australia. There's dingoes. There's kangaroos. There's is there a tundra? No,
I think that's just Africa.
So we should ask, in the comedic style of Rodney Dangerfield, I want you to teach me about Australia. Traulia, is that right?
No, it's not right.
I want you to teach me about Australia.
Australian culture?
Australian culture.
That's not the way you spell it either. I think it's just AUSTRALIAN.
Well, it'll autocorrect when I paste it.
Gotcha. And then contrast that, compare and contrast that with Canadian culture, because we need a point of reference here, and obviously, we're Americans, so we're already very familiar with our culture. We might as well, pop in Canada, our neighbor to the north, to see how they stack up against. I mean, we're not pitting these two countries against each other, or a continent with a country. Is Canada? I mean, Canada's it's one big country, I guess, but they have different territories. So in a sense, it's kind of similar to a continent. But
I hit the wrong button and I deleted everything instead of copying it.
Oh no.
And now I have to type it all out again. So bear with me on here. So in the comedic style of Rodney Dangerfield, do you think that it's going to get triggered by the Rodney Dangerfield thing?
No. I mean, this is GPT-4 we're dealing with here. You should have.
Yeah, we got to test it. You're right.
It should be a spot on impersonation. I want you to, should we say, I want you to act as a
cool guy from a history. Cool guy from a show on the History Channel. Like the one with the crazy hair on Ancient Aliens.
You are to provide us with an in-depth cultural analysis on Australia and compare and contrast that with Canadian culture.
How do you spell analysis?
ANALYSIS.
Analysis of STRALIN. No, that's not it.
I think you got LIAN.
Australian culture. And contrast it with Canadian.
I also want you to give us a chart of accomplishments in sports, media, and military history, comparing the two areas.
I also want you to give me a chart with, what was it?
A chart showing.
Wait, here, you say it.
I also want you to give me a chart comparing the two nations. Sports accomplishments, pop culture accomplishments, and military accomplishments, so that we can see who is the more accomplished, Canada or Australia.
Okay, cool. I also need to give me a chart. It said I also want you to give me a chart twice. I don't want this guy to fucking have an aneurysm. Chart comparing the two. All right, I'm sending it. I'm going to send it.
All right.
Hey, I tell you, I get no respect around here.
Does it say that?
Yes, it does. This is for real. Hey, I tell you, I get no respect around here. I'm like that guy on Ancient Aliens with the crazy hair, trying to make sense of it all, you know? But instead of talking about aliens, I'm here to analyze Australian and Canadian culture and compare their accomplishments. All right, let's dive in. Let's dive in. This is for real, dude. This is so much better than ChatGPT already. Australian culture versus Canadian culture. When it comes to culture, Australia and Canada are like distant cousins. They're both part of the Commonwealth, and they both love their wide open spaces. But I got to tell you, they're different too. Australian culture is known for its laid-back attitude. And let me tell you, it's a beautiful thing. They love their beaches, barbecues, and beer. Australians have a unique sense of humor, often self-deprecating and sarcastic.
Okay, I like that. See, I'm self-deprecating and sarcastic.
I like the dark.
Should we be keeping like a tally? That's like a point for Australia.
Yep,
okay.
Add that. Their lingo is a mix of British English and Aussie slang, and it's a real treat when you hear someone say "G'day, mate."
I mean, is it?
Yeah, I mean, speak for yourself.
I mean,
Canadian culture. Now, Canadians, they're known for being polite, eh? They're apologizing for everything, even if it's not their fault. Hockey is like a religion in Canada, and they love their maple syrup. Now, this seems racist.
Yeah. And
Canadian culture is heavily influenced by both British and French elements, making it a multicultural mosaic. Now, you got a chart.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I gave you a chart. Sports accomplishments. Canada won 26 Olympic winter game medals.
What about summer game?
It's not well, none, I think.
Okay.
So, Canada, 26 medals.
It's respectable.
Now guess Australia.
I'm going to guess 27.
27?
27 medals, yeah.
3.
Just 3?
3.
Not 33?
I mean, they don't really have winter in Australia, right?
Yeah, so they're kind of at a disadvantage.
Ski,
it's like the Jamaican
skate.
bobsled team, who I guess did win. Mm-hmm. Did they win in Cool Runnings?
They won at least one race.
I feel like they might have just qualified.
Yeah. Now, summer games.
Summer games. Okay, here we
go.
You
ready?
Yes.
Canada, 22.
22.
So now give me your guess for Australia.
I'm going to say 23.
23? A little off. 46.
46. Oh, that's a huge
summer.
Okay.
They do summer.
Okay.
Now here's a good question. Summer or winter? Which do you prefer?
Oh, I prefer summer, absolutely.
Yeah, summer.
Everybody likes summer better than winter.
Summertime. So
that's 2.
That's
2 for Australia.
Uh-huh. Pop culture. We got some influential people out of Canada. Justin Bieber. Ever heard of him?
Justin Bieber's not Canadian. I mean, I guess.
This says he is.
Okay. We'll say.
Computer. We're going to trust computer over ChatGPT-4.
Remember, computer is lying, though.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So. Computer. Tell me a lie. Computer, tell me a lie.
Lie right now, God damn it.
But I don't lie.
I'm not always right.
That was a lie, right?
That was a lie.
The lie was that he doesn't lie. Okay.
So, Justin Bieber, Celine Dion.
Yeah, that checks
Which, I mean,
out.
is that even like really French a reference Canadian. Anymore?
No, it's kind of dated.
I don't think anybody knows who she is.
Yeah.
If you're not of age to watch the Titanic.
Right.
Because that's literally all I know her from.
Yeah, she's got to be super old now. You know what I mean? She's probably not dropping hits anymore.
And then we got Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool.
Oh, terrific.
From Australia, Hugh Jackman.
Oh man, Hugh Jackman. He was Wolverine.
Wolverine, yeah.
I mean, Wolverine's like a better MCU character than Deadpool.
He was
I think most people would argue, at least.
He was also Logan, which is also
same
Wolverine.
Character.
Yeah, same guy. And he's got to be other stuff, right?
You got Mel Gibson. I don't even have to ask the chart about that. Mel Gibson's Australian. He is.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. Mel
that
Gibson
actually makes a lot of sense.
I mean, granted, he's done some questionable things.
Yeah.
But I mean, he also made Lethal Weapons 1 and 2. And was there a third Lethal Weapon?
There was 4 with Chris Rock. You don't remember that?
No.
Chris Rock was, his name was like Butters or Biscuits or something like that. And, yeah, so Mel Gibson back in the Lethal Weapon days.
Braveheart?
When he had like the cowboy boots with like the jeans and like the button up shirt tucked
before
in.
he got all into Jesus, like Mel Gibson was the man. So.
And the fucking, what's it?
Mullet.
A
mullet haircut.
I kept wanting to call it a mohawk.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the mullet. He had the party in the party because the front was like a party too. It wasn't business.
Yeah, there wasn't business in the front at all.
And he hella looks Australian. I didn't even realize it until now.
Yep. You know, now that you know it, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee that Australianness.
We got Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie, who played
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn, yes, and she's far more attractive in this day and age than Celine Dion. So,
absolutely,
I mean,
yeah, and talented. She was in a thing. She was in another thing. I want to say she was in other stuff.
She was in Wolf of Wall Street.
Was she?
A good movie. Yeah.
All right. And then AC/DC.
AC/DC?
Come on.
Man. Way better than Justin Bieber.
We got a guitar in here or what?
A bow, 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 a bow, wow. Well, is the best impression I could do, but they are, objectively, I think objectively better than Justin Bieber.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's another one. Another mark for Australia.
So that's
Australia
3-0.
Military accomplishments.
Yeah. I'm thinking 0-0 as far as the military, but I mean, they both have military, so surely they've done something. I mean, I know Australia had that dingo war we were talking about before we started the show.
Yeah.
Their military actually went to war with emus. The emu war, yes.
Which is like an ostrich. It's like similar to an ostrich.
A big aggressive bird that, is just fucking shit up and, messing with their environment.
Mm-hmm. And they went to war sometime around when like Hitler was doing his thing.
This was like the 30s. So, I mean,
they were doing a world war and they were at home fighting the birds. Like,
I mean, I think that's probably more war than Canada's ever fought.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But I do have military accomplishments for both of them. Canada in World War I and World War II, they did peacekeeping missions.
Of course they did, yeah.
And Australia in World War I and in World War II, they did peacekeeping missions. They both. Okay. So yeah, you're right. 0-0.
Yeah.
Who's more accomplished when it comes to sports? I tell you, Canada takes the cake in winter sports. Okay, I think this is just gonna like go over. That was really good.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. It was pretty close to what we asked for.
Yeah, GPT-4 is on point, and I can't wait till my GPT Pro membership goes through. But yeah, Australia's out there. They have emus. They lost the emu war. The emus are still around.
Yeah.
They have the longest fence in the world.
They do have the longest fence.
You know what it's called?
The long fence?
It's called, think of like just any other, it's like a racist Australian name. Like you'd be like,
the Aussie fence?
Close. It's the dingo fence.
The dingo fence. Okay, yeah.
Maybe I guess it keeps the dingoes from eating your baby.
Probably,
or whatever.
Yeah. And now, I mean, they also have nukes now. So we can, that's one more point for Australia. Now, it kind of makes you question why Canada was never entrusted with a nuclear submarine.
Yeah.
Was it, because I'm guessing like they probably just didn't want that responsibility.
I think
and
that
they weren't willing to take it on.
Giving Canada a nuclear submarine
would be a mistake.
It would be like giving anyone in the world a nuclear submarine because anyone could just come and take it from Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, sorry, bud.
Now, who's to stop them from taking it from Australia? I don't know. But, I mean, I'm sure that
I think Australia
some generals or something probably. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully they don't just blow the world up by, like, doing, like they got some guy on the submarine working down there he's got the launch codes. He doesn't know, I mean, he has a few too many Fosters. He doesn't know what he's doing, what's what. Starts pressing some wrong buttons. All of a sudden, the entire world just boom. We no longer exist because of Australia and their gross incompetence.
Loose cannons. Like, isn't that the whole, like, Murtaugh or Riggs? That was his name, right? In Lethal Weapon? Mel Gibson?
I don't know.
Riggs, he was like a loose cannon. He was crazy. And he kept, like, getting his badge taken away. Give me your badge.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And then he'd go home and cry and, like, try to shoot himself.
Unbalanced.
Yeah, that's Australians.
And then, I mean, look at Mel Gibson in real life too. I mean, like the things he's done. He's a horrible bigot, and he said some outrageous things about Jewish people and black people, and
documented racist and anti-Semite. Mel Gibson, from Australia. So that is probably the only downside that we found so far. That. About our Australia versus Canada thing.
Yeah, it's close. They're neck and neck. I like both of these places. Don't get me wrong. As far as countries that I would visit or areas that I would visit, being that Australia is a continent, they rank fairly high. You know what I mean? Like there's a ton of places that I would not go. Period. But like if I were to get an all expenses paid trip to Canada or Australia, I would absolutely jump on it and go visit. So
yeah. I think that it would probably be a good idea to start looking around in Australia for like new listeners, new fans. We can get someone that like, can maybe like work under Free Candy for a while.
Yeah, I was thinking, or we could even send Free Candy down to Australia and have him recruit some people.
Maybe just become Australian.
I mean, it's probably going to be easier than having to travel back to Canada. I imagine that's just like a pain in the ass flat. Although,
then he could become our Australian correspondent, or he could just train his replacement, and then we could just replace him with an Australian guy. We kick Free Candy to the curb.
But, in any event, we're putting Free Candy in charge of Australian relations going forward.
Yeah. So Free Candy's going to be out there. He's going to be shaking hands.
Do they shake hands in Australia? I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they might maybe do like an elbow bump.
Computer, what's a common greeting in Australia?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor,
it's just going to say good day, mate.
Greeting in Australia is good day, short for good day.
That's not what I meant to say. Like, what's the local handshake? What's the?
Let's just run with elbow bump.
Elbow bump.
Yeah.
You did this before though with two elbows.
Well,
were you bumping? You were two people.
Yeah, the two people.
Okay, I get it. So yeah, the elbow bump is good. And then you could say that's not an elbow. This is an elbow.
Yeah.
And I think that Australia is the new Canada. Canada can move down to Australia. We could do like, remember Pangea?
No.
Pangea was like back when all the continents were one continent.
Oh yeah, we talked about this recently.
And they could line them all up and shit.
And there was like an ice bridge.
Yeah. So primordial man, right? That all got broken up and separated, and the tectonic plates moved everything apart.
Slowly drifted apart.
And they became their own thing. So what's to say that the same can't happen with Canada and Australia switching places?
And you know what? I think if they switch places, that, like all of a sudden Canada is going to experience summer. They're going to get a little better at summer sports. They're going to learn to play basketball, do javelin throwing, track, and all that. You know what I mean? There's not going to be a bunch of snow. Whereas Australia can move up north, and all of a sudden they're going to be able to bobsled. They're going to be able to play ice hockey, and those are the only two winter sports that I'm really familiar with. But
yeah, and then I think that they're going to dominate the winter sports after that, all the Olympics.
Yeah, all the Olympics, because they're gonna be brushed up on both sides, kind of like the America. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we probably don't even need to look it up, but I think America probably has a pretty high number of both winter and summer Olympic wins.
I feel like Googling something is so archaic now that I can ask GPT-4 for like a complete breakdown of the information that I want. Because when you Google something, it'll give you a bunch of results that you have to sift through. And then you have to go to like a page.
Supposedly, from my understanding, Google is going to be adding AI technology into their searches. So you're going to be able to Google search, and I'm sure you're still going to get all the classic sponsored Google suggestions at the top, but you're also going to get some sort of AI information. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, that's I loved how it just like laid out all that information, gave us a chart that we asked for. It's like it was
standing by, ready to do a Rodney Dangerfield impression about Australia and Canada. It's quite amazing, the technology.
Yeah, like I hit send and it immediately was like, hey, I get no respect over here. And it fucking just started typing so fast. Like it thinks and puts together all the information and builds the chart in like a millisecond.
Yeah.
And that's wild. And the future is now.
I feel like two more pillars of the show have become Canada and AI technology.
Yeah.
So there's one more pillar left, right?
Well, no, because we did it. Integrity is one.
Yeah. And so those are the last two. There wasn't. Oh, okay. Yep. 7 pillars.
Yeah.
So
we got.
We could always replace those last 2 pillars. That once they start weakening out, sometimes you have to replace a structural beam.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be against adding a pillar just in case, just for foresight.
I mean, architecturally, it's probably a good idea.
So yeah, Canada and AI.
Welcome to the pillars of the show.
Mm-hmm. Canada could, since we're adding pillars and taking things out willy-nilly, Canada could easily get replaced by Australia. At any point, we have the Australia pillar. It's all built. It's ready to go.
Yep. It just hasn't been placed yet.
Mm-hmm. So, our soda's coming out. Australia's coming up, and we're out of here.
Shout out Australia. Shout out Canada. Shout out. That's it. That's all. Oh, sound off below and let us know who else we should shout out.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Natural Habitat Recordings.